Weathered and paint-peeled yellow signs scattered along Interstate 20 near Edwards, Mississippi advertise for the world's only cactus plantation. The plantation itself has obviously seen better days, but it remains a unique and interesting place to visit. Once sporting fields of cacti and other odd plants, at least odd by Mississippi standards, the plantation is now little more than a few greenhouses behind a plantation home that's inhabited by a friendly widower named John. Though the house and grounds were beautiful and interesting, it is the owner, John, who is really the star of the attraction. At 85 years old, he still gets around perfectly fine. He's incredibly lucid for his age, and he showed my wife and I a type of hospitality that is basically extinct these days. He lives by himself in this beautiful, somewhat run-down old plantation home that displays a graceful southern charm that mirrors John's own character. Upon meeting old John, my wife asked for the powder room, and incredibly John invited us, two complete strangers, right into his home. While we waited, John took me on a tour of the house. We visited a very touching shrine memorializing his late wife. He also showed me pictures with great pride of his family and grandchildren. Then John took us on a tour of the grounds. He displayed expert knowledge of his plants with a sparkle in his eye that showed that a youthful character still thrived inside his aged appearance. John told us the history of the plantation in great detail. He answered our questions about his plants and even talked us into purchasing a few to take home. He then took us across the yard to a little pond and let my wife and I feed the fish with breadcrumbs. The brim would come right up to the shore to feed, so close we could almost touch them. They were completely unafraid of us and obviously used to being well cared for by John. When we said our goodbyes to John, my wife surprised me by giving him a warm hug, and then John surprised me with a handshake as firm as that of a 20-year-old. He gave us a basket of pansies before we left, I believe, as a gesture of newfound friendship. And later that night, as my wife and I were discussing our day, we both agreed that we would visit the plantation again very soon. Not for the plants or the tour, but just to visit with old John again and see how he was getting along.